Get up and get going here on your Tuesday morning, December the 10th. Welcome in to the PB&J show, formerly known apparently as the early game. Now, we were labeled the PB&J show. Now we'll just keep it going, at least for as long as we find it funny.
So I'm curious, real quick.
Okay.
I had sent Preston a picture over the weekend of Bluey and how you can make a sandwich for your child with a little bit of peanut butter. You cut I'll just send a picture to you, Bill, so you can see it. But it's Bluey's head and a little bit of peanut butter, and you use some blueberries and you use bananas. So I'm just wondering if that artistry, if you're still working on that artistry, because that kind of feeds into the whole PB&J thing.
Yeah, that it does. It was a great send, great catch, and I appreciate it. We haven't used it yet. We're gonna
Say that for a surprise.
Well, surprise or a day when we're surviving, when we're hanging on a thread and we're like,
that's a good idea.
We got the Bluey thing. When we've both gotten on each other's nerves enough, we'll pull the Bluey thing out.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's a good strategy.
We'll call it from the bullpen.
That'll be your magic batter.
Exactly.
The thing about that is the PB&J sandwich is supposed to be a very easy, quick. I think it's a snack, by the way, also. I don't think it's a meal. I think it's a snack.
Well, Bill, you've never had hard times in your life.
No, well, I know. I mean, look, a snack can. No. I survived the college.
It's been a meal.
We've done that. We've done that a couple times. I mean, look, growing up, but I think now as a 40-year-old,
yes.
now as a 40-year-old, where my appetite's a little bit different. It's a snack. It's there was a time in my life where it was a lunch. It was a full-on lunch.
Yeah, you can throw some chips with it, maybe some fruit. It's good.
No, I can get it, but I view it now more as a snack. So there's the opening of the program. Hope you're doing good this morning as we get you up and get you going here. Got a lot to get into. We'll recap a lot of kind of what we got into yesterday. I think an interesting situation kind of evolving with Dow Loggins coaching in the bowl game. Also kind of gives me an idea of what the mindset is a little bit for the bowl game, which, again, Preston, and we'll get into this as we kind of go through the next few weeks. But we'll learn more, I suspect, as we go through this week. I would think by the end of this week, maybe even by the end of tomorrow, quite frankly, we'll have an idea if there are indeed opt-outs for South Carolina. What is the dedication to doing something that is so rare around here, that is so rare in the history of South Carolina, and that is to win double-digit games? You were on a team that came really close, that won 9 games, that in 2001 was celebrated because that rarely happened. And to win 9 that particular year and to beat Ohio State in the Outback Bowl and the second victory there on the walk-off field goal, I believe it was Daniel Weaver.
Shout out my guy Weave.
But that was so rare. And now you get this team here who has had a great season. All right, they're not in the college football playoff, and that's a shame. But a chance to win 10 games. Something that I think, Preston, we started to take a little bit for granted for there in the Steve Spurrier era. Like, oh, yeah, we do this. 11 wins, no problem.
Yeah, but we had only done it 3 times.
Exactly, but we jumped to conclusions very quickly.
Yeah, like, this is always going to be. No, it's not. They gave the statistic, and it was JB gave the statistic yesterday about how many times we've done it and then how many times we did it in a very short period of time and how long it's been since then. Yeah, this is an opportunity to do something extremely rare and unique for this program.
So we'll get into that a little bit because it does seem like South Carolina is taking almost an all-hands-on-deck approach to a bowl game, something that is a very rare occurrence in this day and age, I think.
No, it was a rare occurrence. I think the winds are changing.
Really?
I think the winds are changing.
Okay.
I think the winds are changing on that. I think things are changing on that for a variety of reasons, but I'm curious to see how things might have evolved in the opt-out era.
Okay. All right. I definitely look forward to that conversation. We'll get into that a little bit this morning. Last night, South Carolina football, some really, really good news. Transfer, Kyle Kennard, selected as the winner of the 2024 Bronco Nagurski.
Tough one.
Never had to say that one. Nagurski.
You're right. We never had
that. We can.
Now we can say it.
Yeah, that's right.
Got to get familiar now.
Nagurski
Trophy
Trophy. It honors the nation's top defensive player was at the Football Writers Association of America and the Charlotte Touchdown Club last night, and announcing it at their annual banquet. As we just said, he is the first winner of that award, and it's the lone prior finalist was just Jadeveon Clowney back in 2012. So Kennard was selected over a defensive back from Texas. Again, this is not just defensive lineman. This is the top defensive player in the country. So he was selected over a defensive back from Texas, defensive end Abdul Carter, who at one point I thought South Carolina might actually land in the recruiting process. He's a defensive end now at Penn State, and Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham. So good for him last night. A nice little award for him, and I think is something that Shane Beamer will steal from him a little bit, go to the recruiting transfer portal, and be like, see what we did with Kyle Kennard? See that trophy he's got?
Here's what you do, Shane. You go to a local trophy shop, get a bad replica done, not a good replica, a bad replica, and you just put it in Dylan Stewart's locker.
Okay.
A bad replica, little, not a good one.
So you're saying a Dwayne Wade-esque statue.
Yes, you get a Dwayne Wade-esque statue of the Nagurski Award, and you just put it in Dylan Stewart's locker.
Okay.
So listen.
Something to dangle.
Just put it out there.
Well, we will we'll continue to follow that tomorrow night. Not tonight. Today's Tuesday, but tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Kennard, they will announce the finalists for the Lombardi Award, and he is a finalist for that as well. So Kyle Kennard now starting off trophy season with a nice ad there for him. So good news for Kyle Kennard last night. And we'll kind of get into that. I'm trying to think, did you have anybody, did Langston or Cleveland or anybody, Sheldon, get up for some of these awards? Do you remember back in the day?
No, these are elite awards. This is the top of the top. And I'm just thinking of all the great players that we've had defensively come through South Carolina, and nobody except Jadeveon has been nominated for this. So, I mean, that's a lot of dudes who played a lot of great football. So it's really, really cool to see this. Also, as we go through these awards, Bronco Nagurski might be the most footballish of football names. You have to be a football guy to get the Bronco Nagurski Award.
Nagurski. Okay, we'll work on that all morning. You can say that out loud to yourself driving down the road.
Let's say in the future, giving out the Kyle Kennard Award
doesn't quite work.
Don't quite hit the same.
No, it doesn't. Doak Walker. Nagurski.
It's solid. The Lombardi.
Yeah, these are football names.
Football guys.
I think that's what if you've got to. I mean, we aren't making I don't think we're making kid Broncos anymore.
Well, shout out to Bronco Mendenhall. New job.
I'm doing okay. They transported me home yesterday about 1 o'clock. They got me well set up. I'm well taken care of, and I want to just say the nurses going in to work on the 4th floor and the ninth floor. You tell them all when you get there and we're going home. The old Gamecock Larry had a pretty good night, but I can't remember much about sports. But I'm going to tell you, I want to let Jen, Bill, and Preston know I love y'all, and everything is going to be all right. And I don't care. I cannot pull Ohio State or Tennessee. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to lay here and hope neither one of them win. I can't pull for Orange. I can't pull for Clemson. You'll be out in the first game. You'll be coming home. I can't pull for SMU. You're going to be going home. And Indiana, you're going to be going home. And I'll still say we got the best bowl game there is. And we're going to be all right. And tell that young man that won them award, he going to win them all. I'll talk to y'all later. I love all y'all. Rudolph I'm home. You can call me or come see me. And I will have my motocross and drags the same. I'm home. You can call me, come see me, and just come by. Old Gamecock, we're going to be all right. I love all y'all. Go Gamecock. Talk to you later.
There you go. There you go, buddy. Yeah, get your rest. We're pulling for you. We're here for you, thinking about you each and every day, and it's great to hear from you this morning. Glad you're home right now, and totally agree with him. Hard to pull for anything orange, Preston Thorne. Yeah, and that's a real dilemma. You've been there at times with James Franklin and Ryan Day, and Gamecock Larry's feeling your pain right now. Not sure who to pull for. Can't pull for Tennessee and can't pull for Ohio State.
It's a tough one. Tough one. I believe SMU might have caught a stray. I don't know what happened to SMU.
Randomly out there, SMU just trying to figure out what's going on. Randomly called a stray. So 803-404-6100. Yeah, buddy, we're glad you're home. We're pulling for you, and glad you're still feeling chipper enough to take some stray shots at SMU. Let Ohio State know that you can't pull for them, and Tennessee as well. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. We'll come back. We'll get into a little bit of Transfer Portal Tuesday. Bring that back. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for Love Chevrolet. Well, this time of year, you know what they sing. Oh, by golly, have a holly jolly season at Love Chevrolet. Like that. That's why you need to get out there. I got Jen's attention, got Preston's attention, a little singing. That's what they do out at Love Chevrolet because they're the #1 volume Chevrolet dealer right here in the Millage. You can check it out for yourself if you don't believe me. Go visit them. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or you can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. It really is the most wonderful time of the year at Love Chevrolet with 14 acres of Chevrolets to choose from and the $1,000 low price guarantee. This is the time where you can get the biggest discounts of the year. And again, they have the most abundant selection they have had in decades. Go visit them. Find out for yourself. Check out that incredible sales staff, that customer service team, just how great they are. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. Visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. And together, let's drive.
Don't really see any accidents to report right now. Great news there. And as far as forecast goes, might see a couple passing showers today, looking for a high of 70. But heavy rain coming in tomorrow. 64 will be our high, but then our overnight low dropping significantly. Overnight low tomorrow night into Thursday, going to be 32. Then cooler on Thursday, but the sun will be back out. So, trade off there. 55 with sunshine tomorrow, and then on Thursday. 55 and sunny on Thursday. Then that overnight low also at 32. Right now, though, it's kind of mild, 61 on 107.5 The Game.
All right. We all want to know who the winner is, right? So without further ado, the winner of the 2024 Bronco Nagurski Trophy is Kyle Kennard of South Carolina.
That was the announcement last night of the Bronco I'm not going to get this all morning, Anna.
You got the yips. You got the yips.
Yeah, now I'm overthinking it. Now I'm completely overthinking it. But top defensive player in the country last night, Kyle Kennard wins the award. Good for him. Good for him. Good for the University of South Carolina. Good for Clayton White. Good for Sterling Lucas.
Everybody eats off this.
Yeah.
That's going to the top of everybody's resume. Are you serious? I coached a Bronco Nagurski Award winner. Me?
Should we check real quick? Just look and see if the bios have been updated on South Carolina there. Nagurski. Nagur. Okay, Gur. All right. Thank you, Jen. Jen phonetically broke it down for me. Nagurski. Appreciate that. But yeah, look at the bios real quick. See how all of a sudden everybody has coached a.
Hey, Fink, I need you to do something for me real quick. Put this on the board.
And look, this is the impact that a transfer can have, Preston. And yesterday, the transfer portal for the month of December officially opened. What did you take away from it?
Well, I know some folks are getting in the portal early, but I wanted to reevaluate. I wanted to evaluate. So you're looking at this. Kyle Kennard's the greatest transfer portal player in the history of South Carolina, right?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Okay. Because I was going to do a start bench cut edition looking at the three main people, but there might be some others.
Okay.
So if we was going to rank or maybe see where these folks fell in line, we're looking at the people that came in. Overwhelmingly, Shane and crew did an amazing job in the portal.
They have done really the last, even though the Antoine Wells situation went sour,
yes.
you would say that they did very good with that.
So this is one of the reasons why I feel like the trajectory of the program is on solid grounds, because while there are other programs, and I'm not even talking about the folks upstate, other programs and other coaches that are trying to figure out how to deal with this, it feels as if Shane and company have gotten a great handle on the evaluation piece, the execution piece, how to getting players to fit into this scheme. And so as a fan, you should feel very comfortable as we enter into the transfer portal season.
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, we've seen I'm just thinking, in my mind, I'm going through a couple. Marion Brown was a nice contributor. I wouldn't say he was great. Wouldn't say he was bad. He was very good. So what I'm trying to think of real quick is kind of the mid-level players that South Carolina has got to come in and help out. Demetrius Knight this year, I don't think the season's the same without him, and Kyle Kennard in particular. DeAndre Jules would probably be more of that mid-level player, but he made a massive impact. Next year, it'll be Monkel Goodwine who will be expected to start at defensive tackle, who we'll look at and go, okay, what can you do as an impact transfer type player? And it used to be, Preston, back in the day, especially for Lou Holtz and for your teams, it was the junior college route that you went, which was those were the initial impact transfers, transfer portal guys. You think about guys that came in with you, Sean Smith. I believe Cleveland Pickney was a junior college guy. Randy
Randy Jackson. One of the best. I won't say the best, but unsung was Jermaine Lemon.
Jermaine Lemon
went to Georgia Military. He was awesome, amazing. Corey Peoples. We had a lot of guys that came through. But when you look at these guys, obviously Kyle Kennard, we're starting at the top. Kyle, tremendous impact, being able to rush the passer, all the stats that he had, 15 tackles for loss, 11.5 sacks, 10 hurries, all of that. That's just on the defensive side of the ball. Then you have Demetrius Knight, who was unsung, I guess. I don't think anybody was saying, unless you're really deep in the portal, there wasn't anybody saying, oh, we got this guy. He's a linebacker. He used to play quarterback, and he went up at Charlotte. He's going to be the guy that's going to be the tackling machine that he was. I don't think a lot of people were. Everybody was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. All right. So they were saying that. That's on the defensive side. Then on the offensive side, I think you had the marquee name. The marquee name was Rocket.
Yep.
You had Rocket that you got from Arkansas. Kind of you know how a mechanic has to go and shine something up real quick off, not out the junkyard, but just
a restoration project.
Just a restoration project, because maybe he coming off an injury, didn't have as good a season, but obviously there was a connection with Dow and Arkansas. They went and got Rocket. And then the other unsung hero on the offensive side of the ball, I think, is Torricelli Simpkins.
Yep.
Who, again.
Well, I'd go him. He stood out more, but him and Kamar Bell. Both of them were starters there that played a big
so
role.
when you look at those, when you look at that, I guess I'm setting us up for the transfer season coming. Don't think that because they come from a huge school means that they're going to be necessarily big time contributors. B, don't undervalue players that may have not had a great season last year when you start hearing the numbers. So if you hear a guy that's coming in, let's say he's a wide receiver and he didn't have jump off the page numbers, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to be a guy that's going to contribute largely to you. Because, Kyle Kennard wasn't this guy last year.
Right.
He's been good, but I don't think Shane even said it. We thought he was going to be good. There's nobody, except maybe Kyle, that would have predicted him to be a Bronco winner?
No. Gursky.
There you go.
Nagurski. We're going to have that down by the end of then I'm going to just walk around saying that to anybody I meet today. 803-404-6100. The question here is, is this a skill, going and finding guys? Is it a skill? Is it luck? Where is the line in that? Because we get a text in from Neil, and he points out that it's hard with year-to-year roster turnover. He says inevitably there are going to be years with big misses, and it may end up looking like Florida State.
The key piece is the evaluation piece. We can all watch film, but before you watch film, you need to bring these guys in, have a conversation with them, have a heart-to-heart, make sure everybody's on the same page, and then you evaluate the outlying statistics, outlying characteristics. Kyle Kennard, by every accord, was a upstanding, great character guy that we wanted to bring into the locker room. Same with Torricelli Simpkins. Same with Papa Knight, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot more. If you're just going to go after the highest ranked, maybe the 5-star guy, maybe there might be some luck involved in that. But I think when you bring guys in, evaluate them, see if they fit into your program, have a culture established, I think you can maybe replicate the process a little bit more.
Yeah, and also there is something to be said. Now, the transfer portal's been a little bit different because what you really had, and you just mentioned it, and you said it tongue-in-cheek jokingly, but South Carolina did go out and find some super seniors. Kyle Kennard's been around for a while. You're talking,
correct.
And Demetrius Knight has really been around for a while. Kamar Bell has been around for a long time. So you brought in, Preston, you didn't bring in college football players. You brought in grown men.
Correct.
You brought in grown men with grown men problems. One grown man had 2 children he's got to deal with. And there is a level of that being an influence on your locker room as opposed to bringing in the 5-star guys who are like, well, I was elite when I went there. I was supposed to be elite here. So here's like Spencer Rattler adjusted well. That's what you wanted. that's not always the case.
And also, Spencer Rattler, again, was another one of those restoration-type projects. He had to shine them up and buff them up before you sent them back out there. So I do think there's a path where you can replicate this process. And as a fan, I think we're on great standing as far as dealing with the portal.
South Carolina has had a list of players. Nobody that's a big name just yet entered the transfer portal. Yesterday was Nick Elkinis, former Florida Florida prospect or player who transferred from the Gators, tight end. Gamecocks have had a couple of wide receivers, which I think is interesting, especially, but maybe not a shock because you've seen them flip that room, bring in so many wide receivers. But Elijah Caldwell, DeBron Gatling, C.J. Adams, Tyshawn Russell, your 4 wide receivers who have entered the transfer portal. Again, tight ends Nick Elkinis and Connor Cox and Reed McKeska have all entered there. Maybe the one that was a little surprising, maybe not surprising, Mo Kaba entered, but you feel bad for him. Just the knee injuries have wiped out who he was supposed to be. And then running back DJ Braswell has also entered the transfer portal. So that's kind of a breakdown of who all you got there going in from South Carolina. Will continue to update and see who else enters the transfer portal. There is a little bit of an interesting news as it pertains to that. And I'm going to throw this at you about players coming on in to go through bowl practice with the Gamecocks. Another reason, I'm going to throw something at you that I thought maybe this is the new trend. Maybe, I don't know. We'll throw this at you when we come back, explain a little bit of a new trend there with getting ready for the bowl game. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Preston here for our friends at Integrated Media. Listen, we are deep into holiday season, which means spring is right around the corner, which means you probably need to start getting yourself ready again for your outdoor setup. So what do you want to get? Do you want to get Samsung Terrace TVs that are waterproof? You might be able to use those today. Sonos outdoor speakers for TV and music, or Wi-Fi that works indoors and outdoors. Or my personal favorite, controlling all your devices from just one remote. It's my personal favorite because you can control all of them. You know, obviously the downside if you lose it, like I do oftentimes. But keep your remote on deck. So it doesn't matter. From home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat or monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is the company that you need to call. Call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or you reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
Still looking pretty decent out there on the highways. Don't have any accidents reported at this time. And that forecast, looking for a couple passing showers today, but pretty mild overall. 70 for the high. Overnight low of 61, and tomorrow 64 for the high. That's when the heavy rain comes in, and then the temperatures drop. Overnight low of 32 into Thursday with a high of 55, but at least the sun shall be back. Right now, though, again, a pretty mild 61 on 107.5 The Game.
$6:35 as we get you up and get you going here. Reminder, you can purchase yourself a craft beer card, just $59. Go to 1075thegame.com, click on Sweet Deals, and purchase yourself a craft beer card for the holidays. It's a savings around $300. Again, go to 1075thegame.com, click on Sweet Deals, purchase your craft beer card today, just $59. 803-404-6100. I'm going to throw this little interesting nugget that was put out last night by John Whittle, the Big Spur at Preston, just a second. But let's go out to the phone lines. Joe wants to weigh in this morning on the transfer portal conversation. Joe, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Good morning, guys. Hey, the NCAA finally did something right, man. They got us out of the playoffs. And the NCAA didn't do anything about the bad calls in the LSU game, but they noticed that we had the best defensive player in the country. Thumbs up. Hey, Preston, you know the baddest dogs never make it to the NCAA big schools. All of them go to junior colleges, right? Coming from where I came from, with the Irmo, all the best players didn't sign a letter of intent to go to the to go like the USC, the Florida State. They all went to the South Carolina States, the Gramblings, the JCU, schools like that. Mm-hmm. It takes a real good recruiter to be able to go to a place like Charlotte or go anywhere outside of the big name schools and find your guy that fits your defense or your offense. Shane Beamer is a great recruiter, and it has rubbed off on all of his assistants, man. Today I just realized how much I dislike Will Muschamp.
Today,
really, man,
it's only 6:37.
Yeah, I mean, really, man, because I didn't want to dog the guy, and I just knew he was a Gamecock. When he was a Gamecock, I guess he did the best he could. But today I realized I don't like that guy, and so I just want to give props to Shane and his guys, man, for recruiting the way that they do. I looked on Gamecock on one of my pages that I had, and there's this fella from Grambling. He's a 6'2" linebacker. He weighs about 230. Man, that man looked like he about to come in here and make 150 tackles the first game. Go check him out, man. I don't know if you guys saw that, but anyway, man, like I say all the time, man, I love listening to you guys talk. Y'all bring out the sports in me. So I appreciate you, man, once again. And Jen, PB&J, baby, let's go.
Appreciate the phone
call. You guys
call.
have a good day, man.
You too,
Appreciate
Joe.
it. Appreciate it, Joe.
Thank you for the phone call. Look, there is an element now. I don't know. Was it Shane Beamer? Was it somebody else? You do the transfer portal. You do have to get to know these guys, their personalities, a lot quicker now than recruiting them over an 18-month period.
Right. So, yeah, you're going to have to be a little bit more direct. It's not going to be necessarily we're going to feel each other out. You're probably going to ask some really simple, point-blank questions and get some answers and see whether those answers satisfy you or not. And these are young people. They won't be able to hide their intentions very often. If your guy says, I want to come in, Shane said that as far as the quarterback play was concerned. Do you want to come in? Do you think you're going to come in here and start? Well, this might not be the place for you. So you're going to have a very simple conversation. If everybody's honest, then I think that's how you move forward in this portal.
Speaking of that, Malik Murphy, the guy whose name was prominently thrown about, is coming in here being maybe the guy to compete. And I think there were some rumors that he basically wanted assurances that he would get the starting job. He announced yesterday he will not play in the bowl game and is transferring out of Duke. So he's got 2 years of eligibility, obviously came from Texas, now goes to Duke, now going to transfer again and leave the Blue Devils. And that kind of leaves Manny Diaz, who had a good season, will play in the Gator Bowl against Mississippi, leaves them kind of in a lurch and also changes the dynamics of that particular bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, but again, That's why you have to have those conversations up front. And I don't know what conversation they've had or whether or not they've discussed this, but he leaves them in a lurch, but also he got them there. So you take a risk, and that's sort of the risk that you take. That's why you have those conversations ahead of time.
So speaking of this is interesting. Now, some of this is due to Hurricane Helene. I believe it was Helene that pushed the high school season back. Was it Helene that did that? I'm not missing another one, right? But pushed the high school season back. A round of players, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 players are going to skip the Shrine Bowl next weekend. And instead of participating in the Shrine Bowl, they're going to start practicing with South Carolina.
Bad move.
Cutter Woods, quarterback out of Westside, play for a state championship. Wide receivers Brian Rowe, Jaden Sellers, and Malik Clark all playing. They will all be enrolling early as well in the month of January. Your thoughts on this? Because this is an interesting development. We saw this. I've seen it randomly. Pup Howard did it for the Gamecocks a couple years ago. They cannot play in the bowl game, but they can practice with the team getting ready for the bowl game, kind of, I guess, get the feel of the college practice, whatever South Carolina does. I don't know. I haven't seen Shane Beamer put out a practice schedule just yet. But your thoughts on that? You say bad move.
I think it's a terrible move. It's probably one of the worst developments I've heard, because why would you want to skip the ultimate reward for all the work that you put in for high school to come to college and go to the back of a line at bowl practice? That's going to be an absolute waste of your time. You'll be fine if you get in there in the spring. These extra couple practices are not going to help you jump to any starting lineup any quicker than what you be. I think this is the absolute bad move on those players. Is again another step in our rush to professionalize high school sports, and I think I wouldn't encourage it for any player. If you're good enough to play as a freshman, these bowl practices are not going to help, and majority of those guys are probably not that good enough yet. They need more and more practice. Go play in the Shrine Bowl and have fun. I think it's a really bad move.
I was interested to hear your opinion on that.
It's like skipping the prom. What are you doing?
Interesting. South Carolina, 4 players again. Cutter Woods, Brian Rowe. 3 of them are wide receivers, which I just mentioned to you. 4 wide receivers for the Gamecocks have already entered the transfer portal.
Hey, Cutter, get to the back of the line.
He'll obviously he'll look and see Dante Reno and also look at and obviously look at Lenora Sellers. I do think it's interesting what the wide receivers, because of the need to flip that room and do what they've got to do with that particular room. And you see these guys coming in. Malik.
Do they get to go to the bowl?
I want to say Grayson Howard got to go and be a part of the bowl trip. I know he practiced. I believe he practiced down in Jacksonville because he was going to the Gator Bowl 2 years ago with South Carolina.
Yeah, but now you don't even have any. I don't know. I think it's a bad move.
I'll try and get more information on what exactly they are not allowed. They're not permitted to play in a postseason all-star game, Shrine Bowl or whatever, and go through bowl practice with their college team. So you're picking one or the other that you're going to do for that period of time. And for the quarterback, Cutter Woods, who will probably redshirt next year, barring something catastrophic, you hope.
Yeah, there's a long chain of things that have to happen for Cutter Woods to play.
But for Rowe, for Sellers, and for Clark, now maybe for Sellers, the Sellers family's like, hey, look, we got to be with your brother already. You mind just going ahead and joining him so we can make this a family trip to Orlando? Disney World's there. We can all, as a family, we can hit Disney World. But Malik Clark also is a guy that's going to be expected. I don't know. I don't know on that. 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. We will get to a little bit of a vibe check, another vibe check this morning. Let Preston explain that one to you. J.C. Sherbert due up this morning also. We've got some Bill Belichick joining us. Brian Rosefield will join us in the 8 o'clock hour as well.
Bill Belichick will not join us. You said Bill Belichick will join us?
We'll talk Bill Belichick.
He will not join us.
You never know with Belichick these days. He's just full of surprises. He's just out there full of surprises. You never know. We look up. He could be wandering in the door because we're going to get to that. He's starting to lobby for this job a little bit. It's like he senses he's in the mix and there's not many other jobs he's going to be in the mix for.
Well, if he comes in, we need to do a fit check.
Yeah. Well, his fits have changed recently. I don't know if you've seen
a little bit.
I don't know if you've seen him on social media.
living the life, yet wants to go coach college football and deal with transfer portals and all this. 803-404-6100. We'll get you the vibe check when we come back. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder, and First Palmetto Bank. It is that time of year where, yes, you're thinking about Christmas and presents and all that, but you might also have started to think about what you're going to do in 2025. Are you going to refinance? Are you going to upgrade? Are you going to downsize your home? What are those interest rates? Well, the first step you need to make when thinking about refinancing or purchasing is calling the Mortgage Guru, Jacob Crowder with First Palmetto Bank. First Palmetto Bank, locally owned and operated right here in the Midlands, so you can get quick and precise underwriting. You can find out what those interest rates are. You can know exactly how much money you have to spend on that brand new home. So call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005. That is the absolute first step you need to make when purchasing the new home. Once you find out what you got, then you can go find that perfect home. But call the Mortgage Guru first. Call Jacob Crowder, 803-719-1005. Tell him Bill Gunner sent you.
Preston here for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, Absolute Glass can handle the job. They'll come out to wherever you are, give you a free quote for any job. And if they work directly with your insurance company, they'll take away the headache also. Now, if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows or mirrors, Absolute Glass will take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. Say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
6:50 as we get you up and get you going. Now, I'm going to read this as it's written because we've gotten some text message questions, and I'll just read it as it's written. But good news. The Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Touchdown Contest still goes on.
Yes.
Is it going to be, are we sticking, I'm reading it as $1,200. Are we sticking at 12? Do we know that for sure? We're not adding 100 for one more game? That's why I say I'm reading it as.
As I'm reading, it's 1,200. If that changes, that'll be a bonus.
There we go. All right. So you can still go to 1075thegame.com and get registered today. If you've already registered, good news, you're still in it. But you can go and get registered today. And if South Carolina scores a special teams touchdown in the bowl game, in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, we will pull a winner at random, and somebody will win $1,200. It came down, was it regular season in baseball, or did we make it to the postseason? Was it the regular season? There was a big group text here.
I believe it was the SEC tournament, if I remember correctly.
Was it the SEC tournament? It was late. I can't remember if it was the week before or if they made it to the SEC tournament. I do remember sitting at my house and my phone going off, and the station, all of our people in a big group were very excited that we finally got to give away the home run, the Grand Slam contest. But now we've got the special teams touchdown contest. So who knows? Maybe this is the game. Go to 1075thegame.com, get registered, and if you're already registered, good news, you're still registered. Just that is the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. You've got a vibe check you're ready to get into. We'll check the vibes this morning.
We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with this. What we're going to do with this OC. We are about to enter into this, maybe a long-term coaching search. Maybe there might be some short-term fixes. And I'm just trying to get a vibe as far as how folks feel. Yesterday we said, too bad, so sad, or dude, this is rad. Seemed to be a little bit more folks coming into the dude, this is rad category. It felt like it, just from what you've read and just from what we saw. So with today's, we want to look at the direction that we want to go. Do we want to go tried and true or fresh and new? With our OC coordinator hire, do we want to go tried and true or fresh and new? What are we thinking?
That's a good question.
That's why we posted.
You've got us in quite a pickle there.
That means it's a good question. Aim for about 50-50 on these.
Yeah, I think this is a good. So tried and true would mean sticking to Mike Shula, the guy that is on staff. That's to me what you're asking me.
Well, okay. Tried and true in my mind means an established, maybe veteran offensive coordinator, which Mike Shula does fall into that category. Fresh and new is maybe under the radar, upcoming, on the cusp coordinator.
I'll give you an example. Like Kendall Briles is now out. I say is now out there, but Kendall Briles. Do you circle back to his name? Let's just say because that was a popular name from last time. But I feel like with Kendall Briles, that would be the fresh and new, the guy who comes in. But he's not. To answer your question, he's not he's not a young up and comer anymore. He's kind of a veteran of the offensive play calling. Real quick, Joey from Sumter, granted, I see what he says, but Gus Malzahn would be a nice fit with Sellers. That is true, but he's now at Florida State.
Yes, he's signed, but he would fall in the category of tried and true.
Tried and true.
We know who he is. We know what he is. We know what he's done. I don't think anybody would have a necessarily bad thing to say about that, but we get that.
So let me run through a couple of these here. I'm going to present this back to J.C. Sherman. I'm going to sell it more on Mike Shula versus the field, if you will.
That's fine.
Because the way I see this is, if it's tried and true, it's Mike Shula. If he wants the job, let's for a second all pretend that he's very excited and that he didn't sleep last night because his name's in the mix. And then fresh and new would be, say, like a Kendall Briles type. Buster Faulkner's a guy at Georgia Tech everybody's very excited about. I think after week 2, there was 2 names that both of us. One was, is it Will Lawing? I believe it was Will Lawing at Boston College. And then Nashawn's guy that we talked about down at South Carolina State, whose name also escapes me. But several of y'all weighing in. Trey goes with fresh and new. Shannon weighs in tried and true all the way. Joe goes tried and true. Another texter goes tried and true. We've had enough weird stuff over the last decade. We need consistency of excellence over short-term hypotheticals. That comes from Kyle. We'll get into this. It's an interesting discussion to have given the place that South Carolina's offense is at. We'll include J.C. Sherwood in it and go from there. Hour 2 on the way.
It's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. The demolition that we had to do in our kitchen, totally had to gut it, take it down to the studs. And while we were waiting for everything to come in and the kitchen to be put back together, well, we got those photorealistic renderings to show us what our finished kitchen was actually going to look like before it was finished. And that helped us pull everything else together and to pick out flooring, pick out countertops, and all the things you have to do to get that kitchen completed. But they definitely do more than kitchens. We've had them now help us with 2 bathrooms in replacing cabinetry in those, and super thrilled. They finished up yesterday, and we couldn't be happier with the results and with the work that they've done for us. They can help you with functionality to make storage even better in closets, in your pantry. I'm telling you, if you need any kind of updates done in your home like that, visit chwcabinetry.com or be sure to call them today at 803-520-6837. Be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry, passion from inspiration to installation. And as far as the traffic is looking out there this morning, we do have one accident to make you aware of, and that's I-26 eastbound between I-20 and Bush River Road. There is a slowdown there due to an earlier accident. Be careful out there this morning and enjoy the weather because it's not going to be too bad. 70 today, maybe a couple passing showers. Tomorrow, 64 with some heavy rain coming in, and that system is going to bring us cooler temperatures. So Wednesday night into 30, back down to 32. And on Wednesday, a high of 55, overnight low of 32. But at least we're going to get some daytime sunshine. 61 right now.
7 a.m. as we get you up and get you going here on your Tuesday morning, December the 10th. Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, as we roll along. Kind of the week, Preston, it's exam week for the students over there, so it's kind of the calm before the storm. You don't have a whole lot going on. No basketball this week, both the men's and the women's basketball teams with the week off. They'll be back on Saturday. Men take on USC Upstate on Saturday over at Colonial Life Arena. The women have a game on Sunday over at Colonial Life Arena. So both of those go back in action. No bowl practice this week, kind of laid back as you get your exams done and wrap everything up for seniors, super seniors, extra super seniors. Final exams that they'll take.
You think Demetrius Knight got a honeydew list?
He's out. He probably got. Demetrius Knight's wife's probably like, look, you got your week off. Need the house decorated. Need to get the ornaments out of the attic. Need you to get outside. Get on the ladder. You know, Demetrius like, babe, I got to get ready for the NFL. She's like, no, on the ladder. You got to get on the ladder. Just be careful on the ladder. Yeah. Need you staple gunning some of the lights up there, doing things of that nature. So, yeah, good luck. Good luck to all those students out there taking exams. J.C. Sherbert joining us as he does each and every Tuesday. You remember those days, exam days, J.C. Sherbert. How were those in your college life?
It seems thinking back on it, you know, either the exam was like cumulative and I knew all the stuff and didn't have to study, or it was an essay. I think a third of the time I really was like, like, hey, I got to get a good grade in this. But I didn't do all that well academically in college anyway. So I was just trying for that solid C, you know. And so most of the time it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, exam week's an underrated time in college, right? The exam week, because, you know, either you've studied for it or you doesn't matter. Right. And so.
Well, once you get done, Preston, it's on.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of shenanigans during exam week, at least when students socialize. Yes. A lot of good times during exam week.
I was going to say, I feel like, you were either there was one or two students that was the one that was like up cramming, studying, or you were me, and you were down at Sharky's or at what was the Fat Alleys? I think that's what Brian Glenn was reminding me about. The Dr. Rocco's. You were out at like 2 a.m. in the morning, like holding your drink. Like, I got to be at the exam 7 hours. What am I taking again? And everybody was like, yeah, you're spending another year in college, buddy, with that attitude, with that mindset. So there was, I believe it was the San Jose right across from on the Blossom Street Bridge. It was on the left.
A travesty. If any landmark in Columbia, forget the Sesqui National Forest, forget anything, forget Williams-Brice, that San Jose needs to have a landmark planted there for all of the good times.
That was
just a sign, just to say
a little pillar.
Good times were had here in this, because there's just a run-of-the-mill apartment there now.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That's the Monterey's.
Was it a Monterey's? Monterey's. Yes. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I only know that because San Jose's Columbia, and we had a Monterey's in Spartanburg. So, like when I grew up, so I kind of knew the brand. But yeah, it was, boy, that Monterey's. There was many margaritas consumed there by sorority when I was in school. A lot.
That Monterey's, there was no such thing as being ID'd. I mean, that was, I think a lot of people, a lot of you out there, if you could remember, again, you go across the Blossom Street Bridge, and it was right there on if you're going across right there on your left, across the street from that was the D's Wings and the Kingsman. And and then you had the bowling alley, if you were so inclined to go down that path. There was a good Bilo right there. That little area right there was strong.
Yeah, and if you stay till out late, maybe hit up one of the apartments over there and happen to stay the night, you can have that lizard stick for breakfast the next day.
Oh, yeah, the lizards, yeah. Good, strong area.
Entertainment district.
Very, now that we bring it up, a very strong area that maybe.
It's the CED, Preston, the Casey Entertainment District.
Yeah, that was the times. That was.
You down with CED? Yeah, UNOV. You down just anyway.
Yeah, 20 years ago. We'll walk down memory lane. JC, so much to get into. We'll save the Dow Loggins stuff for next segment because Preston brought up a really good question about the steps forward for Dow Loggins. Let's start with your thoughts on this bowl game and what it means for South Carolina. Illinois It'll be obviously on New Year's Eve, 3 o'clock. Chance to win 10 games. Preston and I were talking about this earlier. Preston's going to go down a path here of you think the winds are changing on opt-outs, Preston Thorne?
I think the climate might be changing a little bit. We had, you had Dion spoke a little bit last week about his guys not opting out, and those being two very prominent figures. Fran Brown, who's becoming a very good quote, he talked about his things changing, and I think maybe things might be changing a little bit. Now, obviously, there will still be some, but I don't know if there will be as many.
Yeah, I think that was one of these media creations that the national college football media, for the most part, hates bowl games. I don't know why, but they do. I guess they're just a little too good to go cover a bowl in the middle of Christmas holidays or whenever. And so when Leonard Fournette and Christian McCaffrey did it, I thought they were going to be awarded a Presidential Medal of Honor. I mean, they were just roundly. And so what happens when folks do that? It's not good for the game. That gets planted. And then, there's some guys, like when Deebo Samuel opted out of the Virginia bowl game in 2018, I had no problem with that. There's a guy that was not healthy his entire career. He's healthy finally all of 2018. Against Akron in that makeup game at the end, he scored a touchdown on punt coverage. Okay, so the guy, it's not like he's not giving it his all for the team to win. And at that point, his stock was pretty high. And, so that's something, if you have a history of injuries, why risk it? I get that. But this whole opting out for the sake of, like a couple of years ago, all those guys opting out for the Mayo Bowl, J.J. Enikbare, what difference does that make for him? Was he a fifth-round pick instead of a sixth-round pick? He's doing well in the pros, but it made absolutely no difference. It was just the popular thing to do. So, and I'm not criticizing him. Everybody has got to make their personal choice. But now, you've kind of heard that narrative be put to bed a little bit. And it probably comes down to this, just the guys that, are either moving on, like Malik Murphy had a 1-year deal at Duke, and now he's leaving again. So he's opted out because he's moving on to his new school. But the guys that are here, even the seniors, that are going to go to Senior Bowl or whatever, or the guys at any school, it's something that with NIL and all that, these guys are getting compensated now. There is, I think, a little bit more of a pullback in terms of obligation to the team. And I think a lot of folks also see what happened to Florida State last year. Florida State's a prime example of the modern era of college football going askew because you saw what happened to them. Georgia didn't have hardly anybody opt out. They had more NFL players. Florida State's mercenaries just said, peace, not in the playoffs, see ya. And 18 guys opted out. They got beat 63-3. I think that example of Georgia, Florida State last year, coaches could use that and say, hey, look, this is Georgia with how many draft picks? And they all stayed together. Florida State didn't. You don't really want to leave your team in this situation. And I think when you consider that, it kind of appeals to the better angels, I guess. And, there's mostly high-character people playing college football now, even with the money. So I think that's kind of part of it is that as we moved along, we've seen that this can really either help or damage your team. And so it does have some more importance than just what the media said, which is these are meaningless exhibitions.
So we'll wrap it up with this segment with the question of what do you expect from South Carolina? Do you expect just a few opt-outs? Do you expect them to stick together for 10 games for the ability to win 10 games? What do you see happening here?
Look, I think this team enjoys playing together. We've all enjoyed watching them. I can't say there won't be. I don't want to get into specific names. There's probably some guys that it would probably be good for them to, because, the injury factor and all that at certain positions. But my opinion right now so far is that Carolina's not going to see hardly anybody opt out. It won't even be like the Gator Bowl a couple of years ago when, several players moved on. So I think that, I think Carolina will be in pretty good shape for the game. I know Illinois I haven't read this. Somebody posted it a couple of times. Pat Turner, their very fine wide receiver that caught 56 passes this year. I think he's already opted out. So it's going to impact those guys as well. But I do think that Carolina will probably be playing with as close to a full deck as possible when they head to Orlando.
Well, we'll get into another portion of this, which is the offensive play caller, and I'll let you simmer on this as we go into the break. Preston asked the question, moving forward, do you want to go tried and true or fresh and new? And we'll get your take on that. What is Shane Beamer's next thoughts on that? So we'll get to that, and then several of y'all weighing in. Yes. Now we've taken people back down a path this morning. Matt from Gaffney, Monterey's was great times. Joe weighs in the USC Commons. Oh my gosh.
Oh my University, yeah, boy. Woo, shoot, buddy. Never mind.
Walt, he says, that plaza with the D's Wings and Kingsman, Taco Bell, Zaxby's, and Wendy's right by it, too. Let's not forget about the substation, too. Our buddy Twig hit me up and mentioned the Krispy Kreme down the road. Yeah, that was
very underrated. Yeah,
underrated.
Never thought about that, that place, that area like that. But you're right.
The Casey Entertainment District.
I had to drive through there. We lived just on the back side of that. We had a house that was kind of on the back side. I had to drive through there. Now I will say we figured out coming back from 5 Points at nights at like 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m. We would get down to whatever that little intersection is. You take a left like you're going to Brooklyn Casey, and you take a side street all the way out to kind of where Maurice's is there to avoid anybody looking for anybody causing trouble, if you will. That we had to figure out a little back road there. But, yes, you're right. That's a strong little section of hidden gems for food, for college food.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
So
for some of us, that's still adult food, and we need to stop. Think. Like Linwood said, think about it.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. 803-404-6100. We'll get into some offensive coordinator discussion when we come back. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner for AAA Heating and Air. Do you think you have the oldest AC unit here in the Midlands? If so, it is time for you to take a chance, enter a contest, and maybe, just maybe, win yourself a new heating and air unit. AAA Heating and Air is on the hunt to find the oldest AC unit. And if you think it's yours, go to myoldAir.com and complete the online entry form. Again, go to their website, myoldAir.com, complete the online entry form, and for every 100 entries, AAA Heating and Air will draw a winner at random. It really is that easy. Contest is for a limited time only. Residents in the AAA Heating and Air service area are eligible to enter. See terms and rules on their website for a full list of contest rules. Again, it is the My Oldest Air contest. Go to the website, myoldAir.com, and if you think you've got the oldest AC unit here in the Midlands, you could possibly win. So go visit myoldAir.com for AAA Heating and Air's My Oldest Air contest.
So it appears things as we expect. I've picked up a little bit out on the highways, but just the one accident where the right lane is blocked, and that is I-26 eastbound at I-20, kind of between I-20 and Bush River Road. So in that stretch on I-26 eastbound, the right lane is blocked. So be careful there. Aside from that, no other significant slowdowns and a couple passing showers today and a high of 70. Tomorrow, 64 with heavy rain, and that's going to be ushering cooler temperatures because Wednesday night into Thursday, it's going to be about 32. Right now, we'll enjoy what we have, 61 on the early game.
$7:19 as we roll along. J.C. Sherbert joining us as he does each and every Tuesday to give us a breakdown here of what he thinks. We'll get into the offensive coordinator situation coming up in just a second, but want to remind you tomorrow night we'll have another edition of Carolina Calls tomorrow night, right here, 6 p.m., so you can tune in right after Jay and Elijah and catch Carolina Calls right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach, and check into what is going on there. 803-404-6100 if you want to text in this morning. A couple of y'all also weighing in. The co-pilots as the Grouchos in 5 points with the sticky carpet. That's another great college place down there that you could go in. I don't remember doing any drinking in there. That wasn't the establishment, but yes, that was another good one.
Also, that Monterey is just the mix of fajita smoke and cigarette smoke.
Yeah,
and just, take me back.
Good times, good times. J.C. Sherbert in with us this morning. All right, J.C., so number one, and this is kind of where we go. We talk about the bowl game, we talk about opt-outs. It appears Dow Loggins is going to call plays in this game. Is that the direction we're heading in?
Yeah, well, it's a hard maybe. You know, and it's just like Beamer said in his press conference, when in these days, you know, you become a head coach, and with the transfer portal and NIL, especially at a Group of 5 school, those schools, I mean, App State's already got a couple of guys, good players in the portal heading on, and you got to replace them. And I don't know how that's going to work with, you know, as far as his duties to his new job. And that's me speculating. They may find a way to work it out. They may not. I don't know. But, I mean, I think they're kind of working through that. And, you know, I think with these coaching changes that happen at this time of year, it's yet another example of a new era we're in. You know, right now, normally what would be happening is recruiting high schools, getting the signing class together, and working on the OC. Well, now with the portal, making sure you recruit your entire roster, making sure you fill holes and stay on top of it. I mean, almost 100% of the focus has to be on players and not coaching changes. And I know that as people that cover it and people that follow it, and fans, there's always been a big emphasis on this, and I get it, but it's just not what any program is going to be focusing on right now. You know, they'll figure out who's going to call the bowl, and, you know, in time, I think Beamer will decide who he wants to call it next year. I think there's also, you know, a line of thinking that, you know, you need to get somebody in place so, you know, you don't have other schools taking your players and going, hey, they don't even have an offensive coordinator. You know, you don't even know what system you're going in. So, you know, it's a fine line. But, you know, my answer with that is, you know, maybe, but I don't care really who calls plays in the bowl game and all that right now. I think, I'm following it, obviously, and I have my opinions, but I think just a little too much of emphasis on that when, the emphasis right now is on who's coming back, who's coming in. How's your roster going to take shape? It's roster season. But I do think Beamer will he's got some options. You can try an internal promotion, which I think makes sense. Or you can go outside. It's a different situation now than it was 2 years ago, Bill, because really the guy that left was awful. And I think we saw that when he went to Nebraska and had to be replaced. But, so you're looking for somebody to give you a boost. At this point, you have one of the best quarterbacks in the country. There's no tomorrow. There's no, you're just going to make this hire for this guy for 1 year. No, there's no tomorrow. So you're trying to win immediately next year. And so whatever kind of fits Lenore Sellers, I believe that's the direction Beamer will go.
So, all right. Do you go brand new? Do you bring a guy from outside in? What does J.C. Sherbert prefer? Then I'll go to Preston, and we'll kind of read some of these texts. Do you stay? Let me ask, do we even know? Do we even have any idea if Mike Shula would even be interested in something like this?
See, I don't know. I don't. I know this. Mike Shula's been pretty involved behind the scenes since the summer, and I was told that he's made a difference just as far as doing what. They're not analysts anymore because they can actually coach. The senior offensive assistant coach does. Now, whether or not he wants to get back into the play calling game at the college level and wants to be a coordinator and recruit and all that good stuff, I don't know. I do know at Alabama he was a good recruiter, and I know somebody that spoke with him at a camp over the summer that was blown away by his knowledge of the recruiting board at Carolina, the targets they want, kind of the whole operation as far as recruiting is concerned. So at Alabama, if you remember, Bill, I don't know if you remember this or not, he his highest profile recruitment was a miss, but he took Urban Meyer in Florida to the wire on Tim Tebow. If Tim Tebow hadn't grown up a Gator fan and hadn't been such a great fit for Dan Mullen's scheme, I think he'd have gone to Alabama. And he ended up with Greg McElroy after he missed Tebow, and that, of course, helped Saban win and all that, the rest is history. But I was tracking their classes back then. They signed good players at Alabama. That wasn't the problem. The problem was they had injuries and just some bad luck, and, that program had kind of gone through the wilderness a little bit. Not to defend his obviously Bama made a great hire after him, but, he did – the things that we kind of evaluate as college assistants, there's a track record here a long time ago. But there's a track record there. Then certainly everybody in the Carolinas knows what he did with the Panthers when he had Cam Newton. I don't think NFL production matters. I don't think it translates to college. But when you look at how he used Newton with the Panthers and the creativity and kind of using Cam's skill set, right, that's basic football. That has nothing to do with play calling at one level or scheme at one level or the other. So that's another positive. So, what you don't know is where he's at, what he wants to do, where Beamer wants to take it, that kind of thing. But if it ends up being Mike Shula, more power to Shane Beamer and the staff. That means there's a lot of carryover and continuity. And I think that's, if that makes Sellers comfortable, then that's what needs to, and that happens, and that's Beamer's decision. That's what needs to be done. This is one where I'm just going to say whatever Shane Beamer decides. I think it's a critical moment as far as who's on offense and, all that good stuff. And so whatever keeps it rolling is fine with me.
Real quick, when did Charlie Strong leave? 01 or 02?
Charlie Strong left 02.
What was it with continuity with keeping Chris Kosh as defensive coordinator back in the day?
It would have worked out well, except Lou Holtz decided he wanted to do something totally different with the defense. And I believe Kosh got a raw deal in that. But It would have worked out. It would have worked out well. Kosh was a great coach.
We'll come back to that. Go ahead.
Kosh was Nick Saban's last D coordinator at Michigan State. Y'all know that?
Interesting. No, I didn't know that, but he was excellent. But Lou,
I heard he was great.
Lou had other plans.
I'll tell you this right now, Preston. What we're going to do, we're going to run a 2-4-6-9. We're going to blitz every play.
Yeah,
To be physical.
that was about it. That was about it.
We'll maybe one day another trip down memory lane. We'll get into a few other things. Some recruiting. We're now a week removed from signing day. Get JC's thoughts on that. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Are you going to start the new year dealing with the same old joint pain, losing sleep, not being able to take walks? Well, imagine a new year without those achy joints and no more pain pills. Call QC Kinetics now for lasting relief. Take action now to get the pain relief you deserve for 2025. QC Kinetics local medical professionals are waiting for you. Their advanced protocols in regenerative medicine have helped tens of thousands of people. So imagine a new year without those achy joints and no more steroid shots. This is the future of medicine. If you've been told that surgery is your best or only option, you deserve a second opinion. Find out now if all natural regenerative medicine is right for you. Call QC Kinetics at 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. The consultation is free, and you could use the HSA and FSA dollars. Call QC Kinetics.
earlier accident on I-26 eastbound at around I-20. That has been cleared, so good news there. Traffic should be starting to move a little bit better. So if it isn't yet, it will be. And I-77 northbound just after Highway 21. Of course, that would be exit 24 on I-77 northbound. We do have an incident there. Just something else has popped up. I-26 eastbound between exits 101 and 107. So that's between Broad River Road and I-20. Things are kind of stop and go, which could just be standard traffic flow for a Tuesday morning, but just allow a little extra time on there on I-26 eastbound. 70 for the high today with some passing showers, 61 now.
Let's go to our resident expert real quick and give you an idea of something we may do this morning. Jen, it's my understanding we will be giving away in the 8 o'clock hour a family 4-pack of tickets to Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Is that what we have? Am I correct in this?
We do. It is. The show is on Thursday night here in Columbia.
Okay.
Fabulous show if you've never been.
I will be attending. You will not be attending with me if you win your family 4-pack.
Which means it is a true gift.
That is a true gift. It will be the gift that keeps on giving. So I'll tell you what, we'll put it down about 8:15 in the next hour. So about 45 minutes from now, we'll give away a family 4-pack of tickets to Trans-Siberian Orchestra Thursday night over at Colonial Life Arena. So plan accordingly. You can tune back in at about 8:15 this morning if you have something you need to do, and give yourself a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And again, that'll be Thursday night, I believe 7:30. For someone who's going to this concert, I probably should know this better, but
likely, yeah. But man, it is a good show. There's storytelling. It's a rock opera. There's usually pyrotechnics and lasers. I mean, it's a great show. So you'll enjoy it.
Cool deal. So yeah, we'll do that here in just a little while. 803-404-6100. If you want to text in this hour, we've been talking about play callers, Dow logins, what South Carolina does. Texter makes a good point. Play callers are great, but we also need playmakers. How many times did Sellers save the day? And JC, last week, Gamecocks, I think, really, really upgraded the wide receiver room. Jordan Gidron, Malik Clark, Jaden Sellers, Brian Rowe. We're still waiting to hear on Donovan Murph. Your thoughts? Let's start with that wide receiver room. Lex Cyrus, a guy that has become Preston's favorite player because he was up there in James Franklin land, and Mike Furry went and plucked him out of there and brought him south. But that's the one position. And by the way, we've also already seen 4 wide receivers enter the transfer portal. So it feels like this is the offseason of transforming the wide receiver room to more playmakers.
Yeah, it was a really good class. By the way, I can't disagree with Jen Moore on the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They love radio stations. What I work it's basically for 2.5 hours. But anyway, I'm sure not everything's everybody's cup of tea. So please go and enjoy it, Bill. But I'm just telling you, it just wasn't mine. I had to go once. I had to leave. But anyway, the wide receiver room. This is the most highly, I guess, touted receiver room or class they've brought in since 2007. Remember when they brought in all those guys? Now, a lot of those guys busted. And Chris Culliver was considered a receiver in that class, but I don't really see that happening with these guys, lots of speed. Brian Rowe kind of reminds me a little bit of Shi Smith in the sense that what made Shi so good, I thought, was not only that he was fast, but he's a smaller guy that could go up and get it. And Brian makes some really tough catches. Malik Clark is a freak. He's improved as much as any receiver prospect in the country since day one. Obviously, Gidron coming in early. He had some injuries at Ridgeview, but he's going to get there. I think he's going through bowl practice and start his development process, which I think is huge. Lex Cyrus is a very fast guy, a 10, 400-meter guy, another fast player. Jaden Sellers could be better than, a lot of receivers around the country. People aren't talking about him because he's Lenore's brother, but he's an outstanding player. And then you mentioned Murph, and, Murph will kind of be the cherry on Sunday. I mean, he's physically ready to go in college. So if they get him too, I think that's definitely something where the groundwork will be laid for this group of wide receivers to really take a next step. Plus, you have Jared Brown, Nick Harbor coming back, Mazeo Bennett. So you got some returning pieces as well, and I do expect them to target one or two wide receivers in the portal. So, yeah, some are departing, but there's a lot inbound, and I think that's important. I think the receivers did what they were supposed to do this year for the most part. They could have used one go-to guy, obviously, but, the problem this year is, there weren't a massive amount of injuries to linemen and things like that at Carolina this year, but that room actually, Mike Fleury's room, actually did have an up-and-down season as far as injuries go. Brown was in and out. Campbell was in and out, just came on late. You had Mazeo Bennett getting shaken up with Andrevius Jacobs. So nobody really got it going. And I think that will be different next season.
One of the guys that you mentioned, and you mentioned him at the very end, and you mentioned him being shaken up. Jared Brown does have a year remaining, and it appeared early on in the season that maybe that was the guy that Lenora Sellers was connecting most with. Then he had some injuries, hamstring, could never really get healthy. That's a guy that, where do you put him in this rotation next year when you talk about Bennett and Harbor and maybe even a Michael Smith at tight end? I don't know if Brady Hunt takes a step forward next year. It's an interesting group of players, but Jared Brown to me is the one that might be most interesting.
Yeah, you saw what he could do when he caught the little slip screen against Missouri and housed it. That guy's explosive. I just think that, coming from Coastal to South Carolina, you can always, guys that come from Group of Five, there's nothing that says they can't play well. There's countless examples of that. But I think you got to go play. You got to kind of get out there, get your feet wet against these defensive backs and things like that because they're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger than they are at that level. He also had some drops. Let's just be honest. And I think with receivers, just like we watched Nick Harbor get better and better, when he started kind of getting open, the more plays you make, the more balls you catch in games, the more confidence you have to go get it done. And I think with being in and out of the lineup like that, never really having an opportunity to kind of roll through 3, 4, 5 games, kind of prevented him from maybe being a lot better statistically this year and, maybe a lot more consistent. So I would, pencil him in as a starter right now. If you ask me, who the three starters, if they go three wide, would be, right now, the Bennett, Harbor, and Brown it's a good starting point. Now, they're going to bring these guys in. They're going to compete. I don't think that will end up being what it is, but you do have a nucleus of those three right there, plus maybe even Andrevius Jacobs, because he struggled with injuries too. And then, you move from there. It's going to be a young group, but I think it's a group that will be exceptionally capable of providing the passing game with a little bit more of a consistent product from the receiver standpoint.
Looking across the line of scrimmage to the defensive line, the big flip on signing day, Xavier Hardy, 6'6", 280 pounds, number one junior college prospect in the country, a former Gamecock signee. Your thoughts on the Gamecocks flipping him and what kind of impact he could have on this team in year one out of junior college?
Well, these days junior college guys, you look at the transfer portal, and you're always, even if you get a guy from FCS or Group of Five, you're going to get a little bit more developed guy, just to be honest, because JUCOs don't have the resources that even smaller four-year schools have. But East Mississippi puts out good players. He's a very athletic, big guy. Carolina obviously has a need. Travion Robertson, I think, proved this year. I think everybody on the D-line got a lot better on the interior this year. So he's going to be coached hard and coached well, and he's capable. I don't want to sit here and say pencil him in as a starter because, like I said, his runway is a little longer than maybe a guy that they would get from the transfer portal or a guy that's been there. But I do think it was big to get him in. It would have been a shame to lose him to Mississippi State after the journey that he had to end up a Gamecock. So that was big. Christian Ingram, the guy they brought in from high school, and got him at the end. He's a late riser. Love that guy. 6'6", 290, big guy. But they've got some work to do to get some other bodies in there, for next season, because you basically have Nick Barrett and Montel Goodwine. And I like Rondarius Porter, the walk-on, too. I think he'll see some snaps next season. He played this year. But you've got to get some more depth. The depth at D tackle was huge this season because it kept everybody fresh for the fourth quarter.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll get JC's thoughts on the college football playoff as we wrap up hour number 2. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner from Mid-State Roofing. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of rain right now, and maybe all of a sudden you have noticed a leak. Well, you know what they say. If you've got a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether it's your home, whether it's your business, Mid-State Roofing is there to take care of your roof. Help put you in a maintenance contract and keep your operation dry and running long into the future. So you can call them right now, 744 here on a Tuesday morning. And guess what? You'll speak with someone, an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. Doesn't matter if you're here in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, Aiken, Augusta, Charleston. You get the point. Wherever you're at, Mid-State Roofing is there to help you. So give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mid-State Roofing is there to take your phone call. So give them a call and tell them Bill Gunner sent you. Bill Gunner for John Ecton and the Ecton Law Firm. Have you received one of the nasty notices from the IRS? Has it caused distress, keeping you up at night? Well, if so, call the superheroes. Call the Ecton Law Firm. They have a team dedicated to resolving your income or business tax issues for good. Doesn't matter if you're here in Columbia, maybe you're in Aiken, maybe you're in Orangeburg, maybe you're in Greenville, Spartanburg. Wherever you're at, the Ecton Law Firm is there to help you and give you the peace of mind you deserve. And it all starts with a free consultation. 803-771-9800. Again, that's 803-771-9800. They understand the challenges you're facing, and they know that you do not want to navigate the IRS maze alone. So give them a phone call, get that free consultation, take the first steps towards a stress-free life in dealing with the IRS. 803-771-9800. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. 803-404-6100. J.C. Sherbert joining us this morning. J.C., let me get you a few questions here coming off of our text line. One of them comes here from Ronnie, who asks, do you think he's under any consideration? Said his name was linked to the job back in 2022. I don't know if that was just speculation or actual information. Your thoughts on Dan Mullen, and if we can put that to rest or something we keep an eye on.
Well, Dan Mullen knows Shane Beamer. He works for the SEC Network or ESPN or whatever, and just stopped in to talk ball, but not. It had nothing to do with offensive coordinator job. So he was not a candidate last time. There was no. It was just internet stuff that happens these days. If you could hire Dan Mullen, my wheels will start turning in my head, because that's a great system for a quarterback like Sellers. He throws it, he runs it. It's kind of the secret to Urban Meyer's success at Florida. Once he left, the clock was ticking on Herbs down in Gainesville. But you do see some former head coaches go and take coordinator jobs. Gus Malzahn did it. Chip Kelly did it last year. But I don't think that's likely. I think Dan's probably going to get another head coaching job soon. There's just not a lot of openings this year. I don't know why North Carolina would hire Bill Belichick over Dan Mullen, but they've got a lot of issues up there right now. But I think I just don't see that likely. Now, in my opinion, would that be a great fit schematically? And as far as one of the great play callers in the game, absolutely. But I just don't see that as being something that will unfold. You never say never these days, but I would be surprised. How about that?
Let's get your thoughts. College football playoff, did they get it right, I guess, is what everybody is trying to answer, with the vast majority saying no. Your take on that?
Absolutely not. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my 47 years on earth as far as college football is concerned. It was a travesty. There's too much emphasis on overall record, and not even overall record, but beauty of overall record. Like, it's a pretty record. It's basically a reality show or a beauty pageant or an invitational. It's not even a tournament. The buys for the conference champs, I was fine with that until I saw it. There's no plan at Boise State should be the number 3 seed. The seedings are wrong. They gave a lot of credit to a lot of teams with these pretty records. And, obviously the 3 SEC teams got out. I think all 3 needed to be in. Penn State and Indiana have no business being in over South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Alabama. And I'll explain it like this. My wife's going to Thailand tomorrow to pick up her parents. And so she had to get some currency. She got 2,000 baht, right? So that's a big number, right? 2,000 baht. Well, that's $58. So would you rather have $1 million baht, which is basically what Penn State and Indiana have? Well, that's a pretty number, right? Or would you rather have $100,000? What's more valuable? And there was just Ward Manuel could say all he wants. He factored in strength of schedule. He didn't. But none of them did. There wasn't a lot of SEC voices in the room. I don't think taking SMU was the right move. They boxed themselves into a corner with that one, kind of. But, at the end of the day, there's systemic issues with it with the buys. And then they need to do something besides getting 13 people, most of whom know nothing about football. Only a few. And then the people that do, like Jim Grove. What did Jim Grove probably think the whole time he was at Wake winning games? Oh, the SEC, I have to recruit against that. I don't really like it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like a whole lot of jealousy. And I just thought it was a complete disaster. Penn State, Big Game James, has won no big games. And they played nobody.
I'm sorry, JC. Did you call? Because Big Game James is one of 18 versus top 5 teams. Just wanted to make sure we throw that in there.
It has all that talent. And I like James Franklin. I like Penn State as a program. But, they're seeded ahead of Ohio State, and I know Ohio State lost to Michigan, but Ohio State played teams with pulses. I mean, Penn State's best win is Illinois at home, and Illinois is good, not great, and then 1 point at Minnesota. And really, Oregon was blowing them out, and they came back, so we're going to give them all this credit for that. Then they have a glide path into the semis. If they beat SMU on their home field, then they turn around and have to play the mighty Boise State Broncos, which is for some reason a Group of 5 school that struggled with Wyoming, gets all this credit for playing Oregon close the first week of the season or second week of the season. They're all this credit. And so they end up being, right there. Penn State will probably beat them because they're not a very good team, and then or comparatively. And then they're in the semis. So they get in the semis for having a lucky draw in the Big Ten. I mean, Indiana basically is the third program that is either Group of 5 or that was a Group of 5 last year, like SMU, because they got 16 guys from James Madison. And James Madison is pretty good. I mean, so James Madison could have probably been 8-4 against their schedule. So I think it was just a load of crap. I think they need to change it, and that's it. That's how I feel.
Way to go out on fire. Way to close it out, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care, fellas.
We'll catch up with you next week.
Appreciate you.
Just flamethrower to the college football playoff. And
go strong, baby.
Steps aside. Hour 3 on the way.
Do you wake up with joint pain? Have they told you that it's time for knee or hip replacement surgery? Whether it's from old injuries from the past or simply getting old. Stop what you're doing and listen. You deserve a life of comfort and ease with no surgery and no meds. And QC Kinetics can get you there. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative cellular treatments for joint pain. This is an all-natural approach that harnesses your body's own healing properties to treat the root cause of your arthritic pain. You can have real, lasting relief from chronic joint pain without drugs, surgery, or downtime. So discover your options with advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. The consultation is free, and you can use your HSA and FSA dollars. So call 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics at 803-281-6860.
I-26 eastbound before Columbia Avenue. That would be exit 91. And disabled vehicle that actually has 2 lanes blocked. I-77 northbound just after Highway 21 on I-77 northbound. That would also be known as exit 24. So a little bit of a slowdown there heading northbound. Passing showers today, 70 will be our high, and 64 tomorrow with that heavy rain coming in. And once the heavier rain comes through, then we have a little bit cooler temperatures. High on Thursday, 55. Wednesday night into Thursday morning, we're going to get back into those 30s for our overnight lows. And then Thursday, 55 with an overnight low of 32. So enjoy the milder temps. This morning, it's 61 on the early game.
$8 a.m. as we'll wrap up one more hour. Again, coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll give away those Trans-Siberian Orchestra tickets for Thursday night, where you can go and hang out and check that out.
I was just thinking about JC's rendition.
A very hardcore rendition that is clearly stuck in his mind, but you can go and check it out for yourself. We will give away a family 4-pack of tickets coming up in about 15 minutes. Also be joined by Brian Rosefield as we'll talk about the upcoming high school basketball tournament. The Bash should be a lot of fun, and we'll get to that coming up. And then I'm off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I feel a rant coming on in the final segment of the show, directed at the high school league.
Okay, first of all, you said you're off tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday?
Yes. I know. Thank you. It's been a hard year for me. Hard year.
Because Gamecock Larry felt like you were never here.
Year 8 has been the most challenging working with you.
I think it's a blessing.
You are very happy to see me every morning.
Didn't say that.
You've
blessing
upgraded,
for you.
You've upgraded from the middle finger to me saying good morning, and I just get a grunt. And I appreciate that this year.
I'm deep in thought by the time you get here.
So I might have a rant for you.
Go off.
And everything.
There you go. We look forward to that.
So we'll do that all this hour. 803-404-6100 if you want to text in real quick. We've got a couple of these texts asking about offensive coordinator Brennan Marion, who's been out at UNLV, his go-go offense, and if Shane Beamer would give him a look. I think, remember we talked about this, I feel like it was 2 years ago. Did we do this 2 years ago? What are we doing? So I think I've been with her for 8. I think you and I are coming up on year 3, I believe, in January. I don't see that working. I don't. That's not the direction I would go. Look, number one, I think it's pretty clear for the offensive coordinator situation in South Carolina what Shane Beamer is going to specifically look for in terms of mindset, and that is however you want to label it, the pro-style offense.
Yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah,
we know that. That's his thing. It's like when you see your friend show up with a partner, it's like, yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah.
So he likes pro-style offenses. So Brennan Marion, who has been very successful at Howard, successful at UNLV, probably will be successful. He doesn't fit that mold. So I don't see that being a thing. Not for his qualifications, or not that he hasn't been good, but it's just not what Shane is into.
At least not now mentality of what it is, because I think we all agree towards the end of the season they were not running a pro-style offense.
Well, that's why I got into this idea of what is a pro-style offense, because if we're going to talk about Mike Shula, his times of having the most success was with Cam Newton, and all the people in the NFL was like, what type of offense is that? That's not a pro-style offense. Well, it worked pretty good in the pros.
Yeah.
So, yes, to your point, it's not what we see on Sundays, what they've done, but the concept of a pro-style offense is malleable, I guess.
So we'll continue to watch and see how this plays out. I'll transition here in just a second, but your thoughts on Dow Loggins, if he is indeed to call the plays?
No? You left, you leave.
Okay.
And it's not personal, and it's not as if this is an unloyal thing or anything like that, but once you decide to move on, you move on.
I will say this. I'm working my way through. We'll see when I return next Monday where we stand on this. It does feel, if there's going to be no opt-outs, Shane Beamer last night or yesterday saying basically that he doesn't have any opt-outs. He has opt-ins so far, and
that's a good one.
Would not.
Ooh, we can say we had 85 players opt in. I like it.
I just say this. It does for everybody who's always said, well, the bowl games don't matter. Wins and losses. This one, as I've said, does feel different. This matters. 10 wins, selling that on the recruiting trail, selling it on the transfer portal trail, selling it to somebody that, hey, look at what we just did. We won 10 games. You, 5-star player, are the difference in us playing in a bowl game and playing in a playoff game. And we know Shane Beamer can recruit and his staff can recruit. That's a huge selling point. Winning 10, I don't want to say is vital. It's not the end of the world if they lose to Illinois and they're 9-4. But the bump you get off of a double-digit victory season, look, Lenore Sellers is going to be probably a top 7 Heisman candidate next year. I think Jamie Bradford alluded to something maybe even higher yesterday. You win 10, you get the Missouri treatment of this year.
Yes.
You're going to open the season in the top 25, in the top 15, maybe in the top 10. And by the way, tonight, they will announce next year's dates for the schedule. I need to go back and see that. I don't know if that's at 7 o'clock tonight. I'm sure there's some kind of ESPN show. But, by the way, if you're like me and you start looking ahead to book your hotel rooms for any away trips, and I got to make a decision with what will then be the 13-year-old, do I take Austin to Baton Rouge where he gets an eye-opening experience on one level, or do I take him to Oxford, Mississippi, which is an eye-opening experience on a different level? Those are two entirely different eye-opening experiences he would get.
You, my son, will become a man on this trip.
One way or the other.
One way or the other.
You're going to learn to defend yourself, or you're going to learn about a school that likes to party. And
I could see if you go down to Oxford, Austin's eyes you might catch his eyes wandering.
I feel safer in Oxford.
Yeah, because that's maybe more collegiate shenanigans, where in Baton Rouge it could be other kinds of shenanigans.
Yeah, you might learn something about your son on that trip to Oxford for sure.
There's a good chance. So maybe I'll book that. But tonight we find that out. Stephen Ways, why would we want him to call plays? Look, win this. I have transitioned for a person who has for several months said that this is the start of 2025, that you use this to prep your young guys. And no offense, but I have said, get the 3 senior offensive linemen out. Torricelli, Vershawn, Kamar, we thank you for everything you've done. Get on out of here. If you want to come hang out, come hang out. I want to play Marquis. I want to play Trovon. I want to play Big Tree. I want to play Ryan Brubaker. I want to learn about my offensive line and get ready for Virginia Tech. Kyle, thank you for everything you've done. Be gone. Got to get Desmond Yumi Zulu ready. Demetrius Knight, thank you for all you did. Get out of here. I want to see Fred Johnson. I have come full circle. This game now is a wrap to 2024 and winning 10 games. And if it means Dow Loggins staying on the call plays, so be it. So be it. Do it. Win the darn game. Go win this game and get to 10 wins.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's not going to be able to do it. Because if we're applying the same logic that we apply to players, when players opt out, the door closes behind them. And it's no hard feelings. It's nothing personal, but you have just moved on. You moved on to another chapter in your life, and we have to figure out these things here. And I just think the same thing should apply to coaches. If
you don't and look, you can't hire a guy and have him install a new system. So if it's Mike Shula calling it, I'm fine with that too.
Cool.
That's going to be. I'm perfectly good with that. Around college football, feels like Bill Belichick is doing whatever he can to get the North Carolina job now, and I'm all for it. Count me in on this because I feel like this is now maybe Belichick. Well, I thought Deion Sanders might be a train wreck. He was in year 1. Year 2, he was not.
It'll be very good.
Be very interesting to see what he's in year 3 with no Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders.
Yes, it will be.
It'll start with what is his interest level in still being there. But Belichick would be really interesting at North Carolina for all the wrong reasons, I think, as well.
Obviously, one of the greatest, if not the greatest NFL coach of head time. Obviously, he knows football at every single level. There's no question about that. But does he understand how to deal with 18 to 20-year-olds? I don't know.
My thing is, does he – this is going to sound kind of stupid, but I want you to think about it for a second. You're talking about a guy with a completely NFL background. Does he know how to hire a staff that knows how to deal with that age group?
Well, I would suggest that his track record on hiring staffs, if he brings Matt Patricia with him to UNC – if you're at a Tar Heel, bail. If he brings Joe Judge with him, bail. If he brings any of those dudes that he has as lackeys that he keeps with him, bail, because they have been terrible at every single stop on the road without him. So I don't know what he plans on. Obviously, he's going to bring his son, Steve. I don't know what that means either.
Well, that's that he's trying to work it where Steve becomes the coach in waiting.
Don't do it. If you're North Carolina, it's not worth it. It's not even that sexy. It's cool, but it's not even as if it's that sexy of a pick. I'll be out.
He has coached football since 1975. He has coached football since 1975. He has never coached in college. Can a guy go from essentially 30? Yeah, about what? I mean, golly, is it 50?
Yes. Yeah,
in the 70s, it'd be 50.
Yeah,
you did that thing where you think 2000 is the end of time.
Yeah. I was like 25 years. I was like, tack on 5 more. Oh no, he kept going.
I think with Belichick, if he starts coaching college football, you start him out with a long sleeve shirt, and he would get back to that torn sleeve thing. He'd be keep tearing it, working at his clothes, and be tearing it off. He'd be so frustrated.
For 50 years, can a guy who coaches only NFL, knows only the NFL for 50 years, can he go coach college?
Yes, he can. He's one of the greatest ever. He can scheme and draw anything up, but coaching is a lot more than that. And I don't know if has much of an appetite for that, and if he's interested in it. Obviously, he is. I don't know. Oof. And how long does it last when and if the NFL comes back around? And also,
no, this is it. I mean,
also he's not a young.
My man will be 73 in April.
This is the point. They're kind of moving on from Mac because they're like, he's getting up there in age. Maybe he's reached the ceiling, and then you're getting somebody who's older and less experienced. Then, not only is he, when you hire somebody who
is he older? Is he older? It's close. It's close. Who's older?
It's close.
Who's older? It's close.
Give me Belichick.
Belichick is a year younger. Belichick's 72. He'll be 73 in April. Mac Brown is 73. He'll be 74 in August.
So if you're going to hire somebody who's up,
so technically they're going younger.
Yeah, if you're youth movement. If you're going to hire somebody who's up in age, you at least want him to have experience. He doesn't have any experience in the college game.
803-404-6100. One final thing in this segment. Your Vikings?
Let's go. Skol.
Are you buying it? When did you officially join the bandwagon?
Listen, I don't know how solid my bandwagon card is. I was on with J.J. McCarthy, then I kind of hopped off, and then they kind of started winning, so I peeked around a little bit. Now they're winning a lot. I don't know. I'm just saying. I wanted to check the status of my bandwagon card. Is there any room left?
For those that don't know, Vikings are 11-2. They've won 6 straight. Jen, you're a Bears fan. Let's say Preston wanted to hop on a Bears bandwagon right now. Would it be allowed?
Well, that's based on the Bears wagon.
Well, no, the Bears were winning. Yeah, the Bears were 4-9. They're in the same division. They're not winning. They've lost 7 straight.
It's painful. You know what? Bring it. Hey, if you're going to be a good fan, come on, bring on. We need the enthusiasm.
Listen,
but I think it's okay.
What are we, 11-2?
11-2. I did not know that until I just looked.
That's what I'm saying. They've won a lot.
Yeah.
In a row.
I have a good friend who's a Vikings fan, so we always kind of go back and forth when the Bears play the Vikings and stuff like that. She would love to have you.
There we go.
So feeling good now.
Let's go.
All right. We look for a purple jacket to come.
And then J.J. McCarthy's going to be back. What's going to happen to his future now? Sam Darnold's locked down the position.
Sam Darnold just became great trade bait. Sam Darnold now is great trade bait for them. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game. Bill Gunner for Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. How about this coming Christmas? You give your home the gift of clean. You heard that right. Go ahead, take care of your home a little bit. Splurge a little bit. Call Zerorez today, and you know what? If you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, you actually won't be splurging at all. You can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Just book your appointment. That's all you got to do. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Make that phone call, 803-262-4020, or schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com, with their patented ZR water technology, which cleans better than soaps while leaving 0 residue behind. Your home will get the gift of clean this holiday season. So again, mention me, Bill Gunner, 107.5 The Game. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. Book online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards and forwards. It's the right way to clean.
I-26 westbound there at Augusta Highway, that would be exit 111. The 2 left lanes are currently blocked. Also have 2 lanes blocked on I-77 northbound at exit 24. Highway 6 approaching I-20 on South Lake Drive between like 2 Notch and 20. We have a report of an accident there. St. Andrews Road at I-26. South Beltline Boulevard near Plowden Road, an accident. And I-26 eastbound before exit 91. Gotten a little busy out there this morning. We're looking for some passing showers off and on today, 70 for the high. Tomorrow, 64 with some heavy rains and then the colder air coming in. Tomorrow night's overnight low will be 32, and we're at 55 with sun on Thursday. 61 currently on the early game.
All right, I said it. Let's give you a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's a family 4-pack coming up Thursday night. Jazzy. And I guess there's fireworks. Is that right? Fireworks and lasers and...
Yeah, usually there's the flames. In fact, they were at the township years ago, and you were even closer, and you felt the heat from some of those pyrotechnics. Yeah, that's pretty spectacular.
Okay. All right. Let's take caller number 6, Jen. I tell you what, caller number 6, 803-404-6100. You can win yourself a family 4-pack of tickets Thursday night, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, right over at the CLA. Go and get yourself in the holiday spirit. Maybe go down into onto Main Street. I was at Hendricks the other night. Really good place there. They've done a good job on Main Street.
Good.
They've done a really good job on Main Street fixing it. It's got beautiful lights. There was some place out there that had like the artificial snow out in front of their place. Really fun. So go down, enjoy a nice Thursday night, then go get yourself in the Christmas spirit. Call it number 6, family 4-pack of tickets there to Trans-Siberian Orchestra on Thursday night.
I would just like to let everybody know that my bandwagon card has been verified and vouched for by Gamecock great Willie Alford.
Okay.
Who was one of the original Spurs. Him and Rashad Faison played during the early Lou Holtz era. A Viking alum.
Oh, okay.
He sent me a text. Just said Skull.
Just now?
Yep.
He's listening?
So shout out to you, Willie. Shout out to my guy. It means I'm verified now. When an alum verifies you, you're good.
Willie, we may need you to call in at some point, not today, but to quiz Preston on some of the Vikings stuff that's going on. to maybe that's the true test there to
I'm
find
verified.
out.
I got somebody to get me in the club.
Thank you for listening. That's awesome.
Appreciate it, Willie.
Glad to have you. Joined now by, what is your official title? Director, head honcho? Do you? Yeah, head honcho is always nice.
Depends on who you ask. Athletic director, bash director. But again, depends on who you ask.
Brian Rosefield joining us here as coming up on Thursday. Another event, the bash taking place. I was looking through the sheet that you gave us, the 12th annual one. It doesn't feel like it's been that long that you guys have been putting this on and highlighting some of the country's top premier high school talent right here in the Midlands.
12 years, incredible. Really, I think we've been doing this for 12 years, and y'all been gracious enough to have us come in and talk. So thank y'all for having me to talk about this elite. It's international this year with teams coming literally from all over the world. We have a team coming in from Finland, Drive Academy, but number 1 in the country, IMG Academy, number 22 now, Oak Hill Academy, number 9, Dynamic Prep with Jermaine O'Neal as the head coach, and of course our Ridgeview guys who've won 5 state championships in the last 7 years, just to highlight a few of these unbelievable teams. And we right now we're tracking 35 of the top 150 recruits in basketball and high school basketball. It's arguably the best event. I say that every year, but it really is the best event we've had in the 12 years.
You speak of that. How have you seen this event grow from? It wasn't small when you started it, It was quite the undertaking. You put it together, but how have you seen it grow here through the last 12 years that makes you the most proud?
Yeah, I love telling the story. So John Combs hired me to Ridgeview with David Gordon, who was the athletic director then. They started this thing 15. We're still not sure. John and I talk about when did it really start. It was a weekend shootout where John would put it together Friday, Saturday, bring in teams. It was local, maybe try to pull in a team from North Carolina. But then probably about 13 to 15 years ago, brought in Oak Hill for the first time before it was ever the Bash. And back then it might have been the Marriott Challenge. Who knows what it was called. And to see when Bojangles came on, we had 7 unbelievable years with Bojangles, and now to just be doing it as a Ridgeview community event just called the Bash. To see it, I think, to answer your question, Bill, in a long, rambling answer here, to see our Ridgeview community, our sponsors jump on board, even you guys to have us come in. This is a Columbia event. This is a Northeast Richland County event that we're able to host at Ridgeview High School with, again, incredible sponsors. Billy Colucci at digitaljewelry.com. He does unbelievable stuff for our kids, our event, all the coaches. Just to name one of them, to see it grow and to see people come on board and see the vision of just bringing in top talent and top entertainment really to high school basketball and to Ridgeview High School. That's the thing that makes me the most proud.
Preston, you never I just think about this. It would have been cool back in our day, in your day, to do something similar. You think about all the schools around the Charleston area. You can go into Savannah. You can kind of go up the coast a little bit. But anytime you never played like an out-of-state contest or somebody that you played all the in-state teams, but never something like this. I'm guessing.
No, we didn't play any out-of-state teams. Well, we did have the HIT tournament or that was a big baseball tournament,
right?
But this still is. But I'm thinking about those guys that have played in those early North Charleston teams. What it would have been like to see them play some of the nationally ranked teams. You know, those Clary Judge and all those guys who
Damon Kinlock
who ran Somerville out the gym several occasions. I would have been cool to see them on a bigger stage. And so getting a chance to see all the local talent against the national talent is a really cool opportunity.
I think it's a great point. And one of the things that I hammer my coaches on is creating great experiences for our kids, no matter what the sport is. Girls golf, whatever it is we've got going, create great experiences. And so this event here specifically for our boys basketball team to bring that national schedule right to Ridgeview, it's an incredible experience. And for years, I think y'all may remember this when Yerrick Stone was our head coach, who's now the head coach at Oak Hill. For his first couple years, he was 0-9 or 1-8 and still was winning state championships. But my point is those kids, they may remember that they lost those games. They may remember they won them. It doesn't matter. But they will remember, oh, my goodness, we played against the Quinn Cooks, the P.J. Dozers, all these kids that have gone on to play in the NBA, J.T. Thor. The list of our former NBA kids now is at 17. If folks go to the bashhoops.com, there's a list of alumni there that we've been working the last couple of weeks to update, and we forgot about some people like, oh, my goodness, that's right. Rajon Tucker was one of our first big major national name recruits. He played for the Utah Jazz. We're like, I had forgotten that, so we added him to the list. So those experiences that we're able to create for our kids, but again, for our community coming into Ridgeview it's priceless.
Well, let's highlight two players and a coach in particular. You guys get going Thursday night, December the 12th. So this week, it'll be over at Ridgeview High School at 6:00. If you want to see a Midlands legend, Jermaine O'Neal, coaching now at Dynamic Prep out in Texas, coaching his son, Jermaine O'Neal Jr., who is signed to play at SMU. He is the number 88 prospect nationally. That game will take place at 6:00, and we'll go against our own local legend, Zach Norris and Keenan.
That's right. So you talk about that local versus national. We get it started right there. You like to talk about it at 6:00. That matchup, I almost feel, I'm a people pleaser if y'all can't tell already, and y'all probably known that.
You brought donuts.
It's not funny, but yeah, it is funny. Yeah, the chicken butt donuts again. But Jermaine O'Neal, unbelievable guy. First of all, great coach. Obviously, everybody knows how great of a player he was as a legend, but I almost feel bad that I'm putting them at that 6:00 slot because, I mean, you look at Thursday just alone, Dynamic Prep versus Keenan.
Don't steal myself.
Okay,
We're going to the next one in a minute. I'm going to highlight that one in a minute.
Understood. I'll stay in my place. Absolutely. But that matchup to get it started is absolutely incredible. And hearkening back to, like I said, 15 years ago when Keenan took on Oak Hill, that was when this event really seemed to take off. And people say, what is this? What's going on in Columbia, South Carolina? So to get it started with that matchup, we're really excited about that one.
We'll hit a break. We're going to come back and tell you why you probably need to be at the gym at about 5:30 to catch that, because the 7:30 game, if you're a South Carolina fan, you're going to want to be there Thursday night. I'll tell you why exactly when we come back. And Jen, we got a winner. Somebody win some tickets.
He did. Joey Sabaga.
Congratulations. If I've had a problem saying Nagurski this morning, I'm not going for Joey's last name. Excellent job, Joey. Family 4-pack, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. When we come back, you're going to want to be at Ridgeview Thursday night, and I'm telling you, you're going to want to be there at 5:30. That's 30 minutes even before the first game. And there's a reason why, because at 7:30, somebody's playing that you're going to want to see if you're a South Carolina fan. We'll tell you about that player. You're listening to the early game.
You know, they say perfection is a journey, and our journey led us to updating the bathroom, or led us to Carolina Stone Craftsman just outside Columbia in Chapin when we were updating our master bath and also another bathroom upstairs, and still very thrilled with the results. We felt very at home right away when we toured their showroom. They have a commitment to affordable marble and granite and quartz. They really help you figure out what you want and what would be best. We even tried something different. We got some granite this time, and they have like a polished side and a leather side. They told us about that. We actually put the leather side in our master bath. It looks great, and it's so different, and I love it. But again, they explained all of that and just made the process so much easier. Installation is complete as of just a couple days ago, and we couldn't be more thrilled. If you're in the market for countertops for your kitchen or bath, I really do encourage you to reach out to Carolina Stone Craftsman, and be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. They're family owned and operated just beyond Columbia and Chapin, and beyond your expectations, I assure you. CarolinaStoneCraftsman.com. I-26 westbound at exit 111 at Augusta Highway. The 2 left lanes are currently blocked. Still on I-77 northbound, exit 24, there's a couple lanes blocked there, slowing down traffic. Highway 6 approaching I-20, a report of an accident there. I-26 eastbound before exit 91. Downtown Columbia, North Main Street near Lorick Avenue. South Beltline Boulevard near Plowden Road. St. Andrews Road at I-26. One more to let you know about, that's Veterans Road at Garner's Ferry Road. Looking for a high today of 70 with those passing showers. 64 with heavy rain tomorrow. It's going to be cooling down. 55 with sun on Thursday.
.835, joined in studio this morning by our good buddy Brian Roachfield, athletic director, head honcho, main guy, problem solver.
Yeah. All that means is when you're the athletic director, that means you're sweeping a lot of stuff, you're checking locks, you're running around.
I mean, can my only ask is that I can carry y'all around with me for these next couple of days, and you can just boost me up when things.
And when you're the AD, nobody tells you how great a job. It's like,
exactly.
Wow, AD, look at all these lights and all of this clean court that we have.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yeah. So no, but
it's like a referee. You only notice when something goes wrong, and
absolutely correct.
My coaches know things go wrong. So shout out to our Ridgeview coaches. I love you.
So we mentioned it there going into the break. So, again, the Bash Tournament getting going Thursday, December 12th. So it's this week. 6 o'clock, Jermaine O'Neal, Dynamic Prep, plays Keenan. But the 7:30 game, and I'm glancing through the schedule again, it's going to be the only chance you're going to have a chance to see him. But if you have paid attention to social media, you've paid attention to South Carolina basketball, Eli Ellis is the name that you need to know. There's now there's a documentary on him, and I saw it on Twitter the other day, and I didn't have time to watch it, but it was not a flattering description of Eli Ellis.
Really?
Short, unathletic. It was just like, this guy, against all odds, has become one of the must-see attractions in amateur basketball, in high school basketball, and you will have him 7:30 Thursday night, Moravian Prep, coming to town. They'll take on Ridgeview. And, folks, let me tell you, I'll tell you again, number one, you need to go see Dynamic Prep and Jermaine O'Neal Jr. and Jermaine O'Neal, and they've got another player, Jaden Toombs, who's the number 38 prospect nationally. So you're getting a great game at 6. Brian, you'll testify to this. That gym is going to be packed. If you're probably not there by 5:30 on Thursday night, you may not get in. And Eli Ellis is a player you have to see. He'll be just down the road from us next year playing for Lamont Paris. It is worth it. He just put up 55 points. 55 points. Double nickel last week performance from him.
Let me tell you, we will open the doors at 5 o'clock on the dot on Thursday. And you mentioned 5:30, and 5:30 is good. Please get there at 5 o'clock. Actually, get your tickets now. Go to thebashhoops.com, click on tickets. Go ahead and get your tickets for Thursday. Heck, get them for the whole weekend. There's obviously a deal if you get the whole 3-day pass. We'd love to see you all 3 days. But get there early. Our gym seats, people always ask me, how big is your gym? It's 1,498 seats. I've gone through and actually counted each one out. I've used some multiplication. I'm an educator.
Sounds like you didn't have much to do one day.
Well, there was, maybe one day, but also out of a force of necessity, figure out, like, how many people can we squeeze into our gymnasium at Ridgeview. So, yeah, get there early. Eli and Coach Ellis, his dad, they go way back with this event. Actually, I was looking back in the bowels of our history. Eli was with us as an 8th grader in 2020. During the COVID year, we actually had to have the event over at CIU. Shout out to Scotty Grigsby and our crew over there at CIU that were welcoming us in the doors. He had 13 points as an 8th grader against Northwestern, and we knew it then, like, this kid's going to be special. And already then he was getting some talk on social media. So now to see him go with Coach Paris, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see him in a Gamecock uniform, and I'm excited to see him Thursday night. But the gym at Ridgeview is going to be absolutely packed.
And not to make that even more exciting, but Ridgeview is home of Corey Corbett, who just picked up a South Carolina offer. He is a 2026 prospect. So do the math with me. Well, that's a junior, correct?
That's right.
So he is a junior. He's number 87 nationally. You could see these two in the backcourt together at Colonial Life Arena for Lamont Paris in years to come, but you get a preview of it. That's what I'm telling you. You're right. 5 o'clock, doors open. By the way, you can go to thebashhoops.com. Go to thebashhoops.com. That's where you can purchase tickets. And go ahead and explain to everybody, you've got a VIP hospitality room that on your sheet you've given us says is absolutely heaven.
It's absolutely heaven. You know, Bojangles laid the groundwork years ago. They used to, when they were the title sponsor, used to stock that. And, you know, I had to break a lot of hearts that I would have people come in, I mean, former students saying, hey, Coach Rose, can I get into the hospitality room? I'm like, yes, no, you need to. This is for our VIPs. This is for people that we really need back there. And so, again, here comes my people-pleasing nature. But, yeah, I have to tell people a lot of no's. But we have a local caterer, Matthew, and his company, Proper Kickback, unbelievable food. We stocked that through all 3 days, and it's incredible back there.
Going into Friday, you've got Ridgeview will play again at 2 o'clock, and they will play Drive Academy, which, as you mentioned, is international out of Finland.
That's right. So this is one of those games that we've never played. You mentioned 2 o'clock on a Friday, and people may think, like, wait a minute, is school going on? Yes, school is going on. Oh. And so we've actually extended the invitation to our Ridgeview students. This is a Ridgeview. This is a thank you for being a Ridgeview student. This is a thank you for being a Ridgeview student athlete, staff member. Our Ridgeview students are invited to that. That is not open to the public. We will have our Ridgeview families there, of course. But Drive Academy taking on our Ridgeview guys. We're really excited about that game. We sent out the Google form yesterday.
Okay.
And I'm a nerd, if you can't tell already. Looking at the Google sheet that Google form populates, I'm sitting here giving y'all a lesson here. Let's sit down with your, anyway.
AD talk.
Yeah. Handsy. This is the, AD Handsy.
Uh-huh. Once we sent that out, I said, you know what, let me go see how this sheet is doing. And then it was live action, populate. Here come the names. Our kids are so pumped up about that game, and we can't wait to get that one started.
Yeah, I feel like Drive Academy is about to get introduced to America very quickly.
Is that where Morris Ugasuk is from?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
So they know a thing or two. They're coming to look.
Yeah, but I feel like the ability for a student to miss class to cheer the team on,
that's different.
There will be some extra energy in the room.
Also on Friday, 7:30, you can see the number 9 player in the 2025 class, the number 1 point guard, Darius Acuff. He is talented. He is dazzling. He's a lot of fun to watch. You'll see him for 1 year at Arkansas with John Calipari next year, but that'll come up at 7:30. Legacy Early College also playing them. So you get the number 1 point guard in the country coming into town this weekend.
So that's one of those games. It's a Nike EYBL game.
Okay.
And so it's the best of the best. You mentioned IMG is number 1 in the country, obviously, and then Darius Acuff. We were talking off air, looking at the videos of this kid. He does things that a point guard really shouldn't do. He's scoring the basketball. He's doing it from different levels, gets to the rim. He's unbelievable. And like you said off air, he is a Calipari type kid. And really, really excited to see him. He looks like a little bit of, we mentioned some of these NBA guys, Jonathan Kuminga from years ago that was at our Savior New American and Huntington Prep at the Bash, and now the NBA, of course. One of those kids that just can do it at all levels. Incredible talent.
So you got him. They also have Sadiq White, who is the number 15 player in the country. He signed with Syracuse. They've got a few other players there that are elite 2026 prospects. IMG, as we know, people go there. It's an academy. It's not a high school. I don't know how to label it. That was really starting to take off as I was doing my scouting and everything. But you can go and see guys. I always loved it. When I've taken my son Austin to some of these things and pointed a guy and go, watch this guy because next year you're going to see him on television, and the odds are in 2 or 3 years you're going to be watching I guess it's not going to be ESPN or whatever, Amazon, and you're going to see him in the NBA.
That's right. Back then you kind of knew and you kind of think, well, maybe now it's like he's definitely going to be on TV. He's definitely going to be making money as a college player and definitely going to be making big money as an NBA guy.
Again, go to thebashhoops.com. 3-day event, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday will get going at 1:30. You'll have 5 games. It'll wrap up at 7:30. Thursday features 3 games, and again, it features Eli Ellis at 7:30. And as you said, get there early. Get there at about 5 o'clock to get your seat. General admission?
We do. It's general admission. We still do actually have a handful of those VIP seats. Fans, we're trying to be sophisticated. You talk about behind the scenes. We do have a seat map that folks can go in there and choose their own seat for those 3-day VIP. So we actually have a handful of those left. So yeah, thebashhoops.com. Get your tickets early. We'll get you in the door.
Well, you'll hang around with us. I got a quick rant to get to since it's my last day of the week. Something that I want to address that is a thorn. Basically, I got a thorn.
Thorns.
I got a big thorns. I got a big thorn that I want to address here with the South Carolina High School League regarding something that's coming up this weekend. We'll do that. We'll wrap it up. Brian Rosefield, you're not going anywhere. Hang around.
I'll be here.
Hang around. Listen to might get you in hot water. Who knows? Yeah, we'll see where that goes. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen, joined in studio by Ridgeview Athletic Director Brian Rosefield. It is the early game. Bill Gunner for Mid-State Roofing, where for nearly 30 years they've been the leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry, and it's that proven history that is your assurance they'll get the job done in a safe, pleasing, and timely manner to your business. Because let's be honest, one thing you want your business, you want your home to stay dry and running long into the future. So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Mid-State Roofing is there for you. They will answer your phone call. Doesn't matter if it's 8:45 now, if it's 3:30 in the morning, you'll speak with an on-call technician or a Mid-State Roofing employee. So make that phone call today, 803-356-1919. Again, that's 803-356-1919. Again, from high rises to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Mid-State Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee. So give them a phone call, 803-356-1919. Call Mid-State Roofing today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. We're wrapping it up here on a fun morning. Again, Brian Rosefield joining us in here from Ridgeview High School, where you can go and check out some incredible basketball this coming weekend over at the Bash Hoops. 12th annual. This one, the best one yet. You've got nationally ranked teams. You've got nationally ranked players. Again, you've got, and Eli Ellis is nationally ranked, a top 150 prospect. But I'm telling you right now, you want to see the future of South Carolina basketball. It feels like they're in a bit of a transition year right now, trying to work through a great year last year. And he has got 4 guys signed in this class, so a little bit more of a high school heavy class as opposed to the transfer portal. Eli Ellis is the jewel of that class, and if you want to go check him out, you're going to need to get there on Thursday at about 5 o'clock when the doors open.
Get there early, and I failed to mention our prices do go up at the door, so get those tickets early to the Bash Hoops. And you mentioned South Carolina. What a great job Coach Paris and his staff are doing with South Carolina basketball, especially even now, the effort to keep kids in state, and you've seen that over the years. So love the job that he's doing, love the job that obviously Coach Staley is doing on the women's side. And then I mentioned Coach Staley. Big shout out to Josh Staley, our head basketball coach at Ridgeview High School. What an incredible man, incredible person, but an incredible coach. Love working with him, and the job that he's doing on our boys basketball side is incredible.
Unfortunately, went down to Summerville this past Friday night and didn't win. And that leads me to, and I'm serious about this. I'm off the rest of the week, so I can't make this rant prior. High school league, what are you doing? Now, let me start with this. This week, although I'm an alum of Lexington High School, I have been honored as an honorary warhorse. I'm honored as an honorary warhorse for Barnwell. I have to say it correctly. Barnwell, 13-1, 2A lower state champions. They've got the head coach of the year in Brian Smith. This is a history-rich program. Of course, they're playing Clinton. I think I'm saying that correctly, too. Clinton. But they're playing on Thursday at 2 p.m. Now, the Warhorses, they're really good. The Cameron Austin's the quarterback. Fantastic year for him. 2,200 yards, 20 touchdowns, 800 yards on the ground, 16 touchdowns. They got 21 seniors. Told you I'm an honorary Warhorse. Honorary. I get the T-shirt and everything.
Oh.
I'm excited about it. Defense, they got a great defensive coordinator, Isaac Cooper. They've been fantastic. They're only giving up 10 points a game. Nothing against Clinton. Spent a lot of days up there at Presbyterian basketball camp. I think we're a part of them.
Absolutely.
But go Warhorses. But high school league, what are you doing to Barnwell? What are you doing to Clinton? What are you doing to Somerville? What are you doing to Dutch Fork? Why are we having state championship games at 2 p.m. on a Friday? Why? It's a travesty. It is hard for the parents. It is hard for the schools. Somerville's taking an e-learning day, which I'm sure the students are very pleased with to begin with. But this is a travesty. Figure it out. Use 2 stadiums. Preston, you mentioned it a couple years ago. They had some games up here at Benedict.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You said it was great atmosphere.
Great atmosphere. Awesome.
You can use 2 venues. This is something that the high school league has got to figure out because it's a travesty to the players. It's a travesty to the parents. It's a travesty to the school districts. There should not be. And they've got 2 of these. Barnwell plays at 2 o'clock on Thursday. One of the best state championship games, and I'm partial because your team's in it and Dutch Fork is in it. Why is Somerville and Dutch Fork playing at 2 p.m. on a Friday? You highlight this game.
That should be. Tom Knotts is maybe considered the GOAT against Somerville as a traditional power. That feels like a game that you would want to highlight. And Friday at 2 p.m. is going to be like you said, I think about the parents. You got to maybe get off of work or arrange childcare or transportation. It's not conducive for everybody. So it does make it difficult on communities.
Barnwell is going for their first state championship since 1988. You know it means something. That's the great thing. We talk about high school athletics and what you're doing, Brian, and in this state, still, high school athletics means something. You root for your community. You root for your team. And the great folks at Barnwell and getting behind their team and having to travel over to South Carolina State is going to be a great experience. But you take away from that at 2 o'clock. And I think you take away. I remember one of the greatest things that I did, and I got to do it twice. I was very lucky, very blessed at Lexington, was the bus ride from Lexington High School on Friday night to play Lower Richland, which we then got stomped, and then the next year to go play Marlboro County, and the town being behind you, and looking out the back of the bus and seeing a line of cars. We left Lexington completely unguarded in 99 and 2000. It's unfair. This has got to be changed. This is somebody at the high school level. I won't be here on Friday to address this with Chris Deering and everything, but I know he's on our side with this. Figure it out. do not have 2 p.m. games midweek on Thursday and Friday.
So I'm going to jump in. When this rant started, and I appreciate a good rant, I started sweating. I'm like, oh, boy, this is
You're in here.
Okay, I'm here. What am I doing? But I will tell you, first of all, leadership is hard. Making decisions is very difficult. And I would also say this, I'm an athletic director. I would say this to our other athletic directors and other coaches. Dr. Singleton does a great job at our high school league, makes a lot of tough decisions, and his staff, Charlie and the whole crew. And they tell us, this is your membership. So he's telling us this is the membership is us as athletic directors, as coaches. And so and I think the membership would include even this radio show to activate folks. If we want change, like, we need to do our part too. And you're right. A 2 p.m. game, that's tough. That's
it's just not
really
fair.
Tough.
It's just not fair. It's not fair. Go War Horses. Honorary War Horse this weekend. Lexington's not in it. Obviously, Dustin Curtis, good buddy, does an incredible job. They had a good year over there, but this weekend I get to be a War Horse, and I hope they get their first state championship since 1988. Go Cam Austin. Great quarterback for them. Look forward to it. But that is my rant. That's my thorn. I want to see Somerville go and win for you, so that you can come in here proud on Monday morning when I return.
Solid, man. And go out to the bash. I said, go out and support local athletics. The kids are working hard. The athletic directors, the staffs, the teachers, everybody's working hard. Go support the community.
TheBashHoops.com. Brian, we always appreciate it.
Thank y'all very much.
Go visit the website, get your tickets. Again, reminder, get out to the Bash this coming weekend. A lot of great games taking place. Reminder, Thursday will be absolutely fantastic. Dynamic Prep and Jermaine O'Neal, Moravian Prep, Eli Ellis. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you go and visit them. Also, while you're thinking about that, are you thinking about your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery for Christmas? You need to be. You want it to be nice and clean when all the family shows up. You don't know what kind of time Cousin Eddie might show up with his family. You don't even know if they're going to show up. But if your home is clean, they'll appreciate it. Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning and mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. You can schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com, or you can give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. That's how you can reach out to Zerorez. Mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $129. Zerorez.